Welcome aboard, folks. I don't know if I told you about this boat, you know? This boat was built in High Point, North Carolina, and it was launched in 1966. They started construction in 1965. It's a 34-foot Hatteras, and this was the second basic model that they came out with. The first one was the 41 that became known as the Nitwits, and then they came out with a 34-foot version of this that was similar to this. I think it was the same hull, but a little different configuration in the cabin, and they call that the Hatteras. And this is an improvement of the Hatteras that came out in like 1965. You know, we improved it here by putting this kind of enclosure on the bridge. It had the bridge originally, but not the enclosure. We put diesel engines in it. It formerly had Chrysler Marine engines in it, and stripped out all the old electronics, all the electricity, and redid everything on that part of it. So the original part of this boat is basically the hull and the woodwork, which is the part you notice the most anyway. The Slane brothers were out of High Point, and they came out of really the textile industry, and that's where they got the Nitwits from, for the first boat, which was the 41 Hatteras. I don't think either of those were as pretty as this boat. They also were built very, very heavy. The Slanes were very, very conscious of people not feeling like that fiberglass would be as strong as wood. So they demonstrated it by taking a baseball bat, inviting a bunch of guys down from New York, handed them all a baseball bat, and they got to swing it literally at the old wooden boats. And of course the baseball bat went straight through that mahogany hull. And then they swung it against this fiberglass, and guess what? Just made a little dent. You were still floating all the way. And that's what started these things off, and that's what sold Hatteras initially. They sold it themselves. They did everything they wanted to do, and they were the salesmen, the construction guys, the designers, you name it. Well, this is the doorway. This is the original doorway, a sliding door, and all this was mahogany. It was done in mahogany rather than in teak. Everyone looks at it, they think it's teak. It's not. All the original stuff from Hatteras was mahogany. As you come on inside, you'll notice the walls are also mahogany. This is all original. All original here. Everything in here is original, except this floor, which was redone. We tore out the old floor. It had a linoleum floor in it, and that was actually, linoleum was the original flooring of the Hatteras, and we had to tear that out, and we put in this flooring here. And many people thought it was the original flooring of the Hatteras, but it's not. This was actually purchased through at Lowe's, and this was all redone here. This is the electric panel, and everything on here sort of throws one switch or another and has to do with whatever's operating at that point in time. Right now, if you'll see in the lower right-hand corner, the generator is currently operating. We just came in and took a little cruise. And the lights are on, and the little red light on there indicates it's operating. The galley here is original. The sink and the utensils and everything in here are all the original. And that was all the way it came. The stove is the original stove. The refrigerator was replaced. The V-berth. The V-berth looks kind of shabby right now. The V-berth has become sort of a kind of a storage place for us sometimes. Although, you know, you can sleep on it, and we have been known to do that. It has a full head in here. And a shower. And the shower has a hot water heater. Heats the water to 140 degrees. The shower drains into a sump pump down the bottom and pumps it out. Well, one of the neat things about this was that when they built this boat in High Point, North Carolina, this boat has almost 14-foot beam to it, and at that time you couldn't carry more than an 8-foot beam out on the highway. So they put this thing on a big flatbed truck. They had police guards and permissions and all those other things, and flags and sirens going and the whole works. They would leave High Point between 9 and 11 o'clock at night in order to miss all the traffic in the small towns that they had to go through to get from High Point to New Bern, where they launched it in New Bern. Must have been a heck of a sight. Yeah, this boat just barely goes on a flatbed, and it looks bigger than the flatbed when you got it on there. Must have been quite a sight. I'd love to have a picture of it. I do have a picture of it though when they brought this same boat down from New England. This boat was at Mystic Harbor, Connecticut. It was owned by a doctor up there who passed away, and about 10 years later his wife decided to sell it. She had it up on blocks for 10 years, and they put it up on a flatbed once again, but brought it down Interstate Highway. Came down Interstate 95, and then this boat was purchased by a guy down here. Sat here for about a year. He decided it was too big a task for him, and he sold it to me. This boat had 3 owners since 1966, and I'm the 3rd owner. One of them in the middle had it for about a year. Had a big for sale sign on it, had it in a dock, and I kept seeing it there, and I said, finally, I just decided I'd call him up and see how much he wanted for it. And I bought it. So I hope you've enjoyed our little tour, and we hope you'll subscribe to us. Thank you very much. It's nice talking with you.